Moritz loops it in down low to Hamby. It was off of James Verbic.
And there's what Coach Chesbrough is looking for from the Maroons. I think he wants to set up in that half-court game. I don't think he really wants to see Chris Montgomery push the ball up the court like he did that first time.
Steve Bursar off the iron, no good, and Dave Gutierrez comes down with the rebound. Soskich. Boy, the Maroons remember what Soskich did to them last time these two teams met on the other side of the river. He had some clutch baskets down the stretch. Steve Bursar picks up the foul. That's his first. And what looked like it was going to be a Maroon romp, I think Elgin was up, if memory serves me correctly, by 18 with 4.5 minutes to go, and Larkin cut it to 1 point at the buzzer.
Yeah, that's the type of team Larkin is. They're a team that can push the ball up the court. They can fill it up very quickly. They've got a lot of good outside shooters. And you don't want to say they live and die by the jump shot because they have two good inside players in Gutierrez and Verbic. But boy, they can score quickly when they have to.
Steve Jeffress into Gutierrez. Jeffress with the jumper over Montgomery, no good. Big board by Gutierrez, and the ball blocked and knocked out of bounds by James Hamby. Gutierrez, nice fake. Hamby went right up with him though, and a rejection by Hamby. Looks like Mark Baugh will be whistled with a foul. That's the second team foul for the Maroons. Gutierrez, no. Boy, Hamby's playing some tough D inside, Dave. Verbic.
That's a situation where the Elgin players just have to move their feet on defense and not rely on the block shot constantly.
Well, the turnover on the travel by Soskich will give the ball, I'm sorry, the turnover by Elgin gives the ball to the Larkin Royals. Turnover number 1. Verbic. It's on James Hamby. Two shots coming up here for James Verbic. Verbic, a junior, hitting 70% of his shots from the free throw line this year. 6:04 to play, first quarter. Three points for Verbic and a 7-0 Larkin lead. Now we're getting around the 2-minute mark. 2 minutes into this first quarter, Maroons still haven't been on the board. There's Baugh penetrating. And stepping out of bounds was Bursar. Couldn't make the save. Maroons apply the backcourt pressure. Court to Gutierrez. Wells working for this shot, and out of the corner, Tony Soskich. And a timeout is called. So the Larkin Royals have scored the first 9 points of this game. It's 9-0, 5:29 left to play in the first quarter. Maroons look a little shaky here in the early going.
Well, I tell you, as we mentioned earlier, I think they're just going to have to come down and set themselves up in the quarter-court offense. I know that's what Chesbrough wants from them, and yet the Maroons continue to insist on pushing the ball inside with the dribble rather than the pass. They have to be patient, get the ball to the wing, wait for the pick, and get the ball into their big men. Those are the guys that have gotten them their success this past part of the year, and they're going to have to keep going to them.
Not much you can do about guys like Soskich and Jeffress, who are capable of really going on streaks with the outside shot.
Yeah, that's the thing with Larkin. As we said, they're a good jump shooting team. They run a little hot and cold once in a while. But the things the Maroons have to make sure they do, which they haven't done, is block out on the backboards. When Larkin has missed a shot, they've been able to get a rebound or slap it back out front and get the ball again and get another chance. And they've taken advantage of it when they had that opportunity.
You think that they're putting a little bit, counting a little bit too much on James Hamby inside to provide the inner defense?
Yeah, I think the outside people have to start moving their feet a little better and forcing guys to the sideline rather than letting them penetrate inside. I know that's the key to our defense.
Well, this trip down, Montgomery takes a shot. Misses wide left to the iron. Verbic to Cork. On the long baseball pass, and it's 11-0. Baugh, count it.
You know, there's what we're talking about. The Maroons need to get the ball inside to the people that have been successful for them lately. That will not only get them on the scoreboard, but it'll also free up the outside. Larkin's going to have to sag back and help a little bit and play it honest, and that'll open up for Tim Moritz, Steve Burser, and Chris Montgomery from the outside.
Now, Mark Baugh at the line is averaging 14 points a game, and he's also hitting 80% of his free throws. However, he missed the opportunity for the three-point play that time down. Cork misses the shot for Larkin, and Elgin comes up with the rebound. Dan Bautista into the Elgin lineup. Hamby.
There we see what we're talking about. 2 times in a row down the court, they get the ball inside and they score.
And Bautista.
You know, Dan Bautista might be the key they needed there. He's a guy that's going to get the ball to other people and make sure it gets inside.
6 straight points here for the Maroons. Soskich from the outside.
I'll tell you one thing you cannot do is let Tony Soskich set and shoot, because he will not miss very often.
13-6. And a nice move to the hook by Tim Moritz. It's a 13-8 game. Larkin on top. Steal by Baugh. Bautista. And the foul is going to be on Soskich.
You know, even though he lost control of the ball there, Dan Bautista did a very intelligent thing. He got the steal. A lot of kids might have gone ahead and forced the ball inside with the 2-on-2 situation, but he saw he didn't have an advantage, and he brought the ball back out to wait for his teammates.
Maroons could cut the lead to 3 here with a bucket. Burser, nothing doing there as he tried the reverse lay-in. Here come the Royals. Jeffress. Another streak shooter. Gutierrez with a big offensive board.
Once again, we see what we talk about there. Larkin's taking advantage of the good rebounding of Dave Gutierrez and James Verbic and getting the good second shot inside.
Inside of 3 minutes to play first quarter, 15-8. Larkin on top of the Elgin Maroons. Moritz near side to Bautista. Burser in the lane. No, got his own rebound and scores the basket. His first 2 points of the night, and it's a 15-10 ball game. Pressure defense. Cork. Ball knocked back outside to Soskich. Gutierrez the follow-up. Doesn't get it, and the Maroons get the basketball. Mark Baugh connects from the outside. It's 15-12.
You know, you see there, the Maroons are putting the pressure on, and they're really not having a lot of success stealing the ball, but they're achieving what they want to do. They're slowing Larkin Royals down so they can't fast break.
And a Larkin turnover.
I think that's important in Coach Chesbro's mind because I really feel that Larkin's more comfortable in a transition type of game where they can push the ball up the court and get the shot off quickly and fill the lanes.
With the ball is Steve Bursar. James Hamby. Bursar to Baugh, back to Bursar. Hamby with the short jump shot. And in a situation like that, it pays to have that height advantage.
Yeah, he can take his time as long as he's out of that lane area.
1-point game.
I tell you, that last time down the court is exactly what the Maroons are looking for, I'm sure, in Coach Chesbro's mind. They got the ball inside twice. When there was pressure, they kicked it right back out, brought it out to the top, reversed it, and got it back down to Hamby for the third time in the bucket.
Now Mark Baugh is going to be whistled for a foul. That's his second. Artis Sharp into the Larkin Royal lineup. He wears jersey number 11. Steve Jeffress, number 23, inbounds the ball to Scott Cork, wearing number 33. Jeffress misses a shot out of the corner, and Dan Batista right there to pick it up. Steve Bursar. And Artis Sharp is whistled with a foul. Maroons seem to be moving much better.
Yeah, I think that timeout was much needed by Coach Chesbro. He got his point across what they wanted to achieve, and they've begun executing it. And as we see on the scoreboard, they've had a heck of a lot more success. You know, one thing about Steve Bursar is occasionally he seems to force the issue a little bit more than you would want him to. But you know he's a kid that's going to be out there giving you 110%. Oh, yeah. The kind of mistakes he's going to make are at least going to be aggressive mistakes where he's really working hard.
Now, he's played guard this season as well. What was the reason why they moved him up to forward?
I think...
Well, Hamby with the basket.
I think mainly because of the fact that we needed to get a little bit better ball movement in the lineup. With the three big men, we were a little slower, and Steve's the kind of kid that can go underneath and rebound just because of his scrappiness and aggressiveness. He's going to match up with different people. Well,
Elgin takes a 1-point lead. Verbic puts Larkin back on top by 1, and it's 17-16. Larkin, as you recall, or if you're just joining us, jumped out to a quick 11-0 lead. Elgin came back to take the lead, and James Hamby scores his 8th point. It's 18-17. Verbic on the drive, and a nice rejection underneath by Baugh. Gutierrez got the bounce. One second to play in the first quarter, and that's it. Very interesting first quarter indeed, as the Larkin Royals lead 19-18. But as we mentioned, Larkin took advantage of some slow movement by the Elgin Maroon guards and people outside to take that 11-0 lead, but Elgin seems to have rectified that mistake.
Yeah, I think we're going to look for this to be pretty much a back-and-forth ball game the rest of the way out, because both teams are doing pretty much what they want to. Larkin established that early lead by pushing the ball up the court, getting the jump shots and filling the lanes and getting the rebounds on the weak side boards and putting the bucket in. On the other hand, Elgin made their comeback when they did slow the ball down, set up their half-court offense, and you notice once they started getting the ball inside the Baugh and Hamby was moving a lot better to get the ball. Once you get the ball, you're going to be a lot more active to come to the ball because you know you're going to get it that much more often. Plus, as I said, Elgin put the pressure on. I think it's not really what you want to call token pressure. They're trying for a steal on the inbounds, but I think basically the thing they're trying to achieve is to slow Larkin's fast break down, try and make them set up in the half-court game so they can apply the good matchup defense.
And Larkin is pretty good at handling pressure defenses. Against DeKalb a few weeks ago, DeKalb pressed him, and they handled it very well.
Yeah, I think Larkin's the type of team that's going to look to score against the press. They're not going to look just to beat it. They're going to look to attack it and get a basket. That's why I think Elgin has people back, and they're allowing them to get the ball up the court.
Maroons with the down by 1 point. Larkin with the basketball. Scott Cork, whistle inside, and a foul. James Hamby. That's his second. Kind of early for James to have 2 fouls.
Now that's something the Maroons can ill afford, especially the way that big man's playing tonight.
Gutierrez misses the second shot and gets the ball knocked out to him. So Larkin could capitalize here on the 3-point play. Ball knocked out of bounds, and it'll go to the Elgin Maroons. So the Maroons with an opportunity to tie it here. Danny Batista. Artis Sharp with the foul from behind. That's Artis's second foul tonight. Rodney Scott into the Elgin lineup. Hamby misses the short jumper. Gutierrez with the rebound. To Cork on a wing. Inside, Gutierrez with the reverse. No, and James Hamby's right there. Batista to Mark Baugh. And quickness by Rodney Scott. We're tied at 20.
There you saw an example of what we were talking about. Larkin got the ball to the middle against the press. Tony Soskich filled the wing, and Gutierrez got in the ball, and they pushed the ball up the court and forced the action rather than just getting it across and setting up. And it paid a dividend for Larkin this time.
Now with Rodney Scott in there at guard, that gives the Maroons more speed, correct?
Oh yeah, Rodney's going to make some things happen. You saw an example of it there at the other end. You know, he's not a real flashy offensive player, but he's the kind of kid that's going to go in and mix it up. And if there's a loose ball, he and Steve Burse are going to be down on the floor after it.
Tony Soskich hits both free throws. 6 points for the sophomore from Larkin. And the Royals break back on top, 22-20. Tim Moritz. And Moritz gets his 4th point tonight.
I tell you, people see Tim make that move.
Gutierrez got the inside position.
Going back to that last move by Moritz, people see that and they think a lot of times that he might be fortunate to hit it, but I've seen him in practice time and time again. He does that as well as anybody I've seen.
He's one of the best shooters on the team, isn't he?
By far, yes.
Well, that time, the Royals weren't going to give anybody the baseline there, the Maroons the baseline.
Well, that was real fine defense by Larkin. One man was beat on the baseline, there was somebody there to help, and then they trapped, and it caused a bad situation for Steve Burser.
24-22, the Royals with a 2-point lead. Inside of 6 minutes to play in the first half. Steve Jeffress. Scott Cork into Gutierrez, back to Jeffress. Gutierrez inside, good. Timmy Moritz to Rodney Scott. Bruins patiently work the ball. And the foul on Soskich. Correction, make that James Verbic. 5 team fouls for the Larkin Royals.
I'll tell you, that's one thing I think Mark Baugh is going to have to look to do when he gets that ball in the high post. The Larkin Royals are sagging back to help on James Hamby, help Dave Gutierrez, and Verbic is right up in Baugh's face to take the jumper away from him, so I think Baugh's got to take advantage of his own quickness and try and take Verbic to the basket.
So Mark Baugh with big free throws coming up. He's hitting 80% of his free throws, 26-23. He misses the second shot. Ball kept alive. Purser with the follow-up, no. And Carter Kalm knocked the ball out of bounds as he battled with Rodney Scott down there. 5:11 to play. First half. Long shot by Moritz. Would you term that a bad shot?
No, not really. That's a set play, set inbounds play for Tim Moritz. And I tell you, anything within a couple feet of that top of the key is within his range if he's set.
26-23, Jim Verbic at the free throw line. Shooting the one in a bonus. Well, Larkin so far tonight, 6 of 8 at the free throw line. Moritz. Ball out of the corner. And Rodney Scott gets the rebound. Missed the layup. So the Royals bring it down this way. Call. And we'll go the other way with it.
You know, the last couple times down the floor, the Maroons have gotten big offensive rebounds and then forced the shot back up rather than going up strong. They've got to take their time and take advantage of that rebound.
James Hamby with a soft touch in the lane. 10 points for the big guy. And it's a 3-point Larkin Royal lead at 28-25. This is Jeffress. Hits the edge of the rim. Call in there battling with Hamby. The rebound. And he makes the shot. (30-25), Larkin by 5. Moritz. You can just about hear the swish from up here. 30-27. Now the offensive foul.
I tell you, the Maroons got the benefit of that in the long run. It looked like we had a definite walk down the lane there, and then they came back and got the offensive foul. I'm sure they prefer that.
Cork's first foul. That's 5 team fouls. Rodney Scott. Mark Baugh guarded by Verbic. Uh-oh. And the Maroons going to be whistled for over and back.
That was a situation where Mark got a little bit casual, as he tends to do once in a while. He's got to learn to keep both hands on that ball and really take care of it rather than relaxing.
This is Soskich from the head of the key, boy. Rodney Scott picks up his second personal. At the line will be Tony Soskich. He has 8 points. Dave Gutierrez leads the Royals so far with 9, while James Hamby leads everybody with 10 points.
Well, I tell you, these college coaches talk about the lack of outside shooters coming out of high school basketball. I think they've got 2 sophomores they can look at in a few years here in Tim Moritz and Tony Soskich.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more. Scott with the turnaround and Gutierrez with the rebound. Well, we'll go the other way with it. Mercer wisely goes back out to Scott to set it up again. Into Baugh. Baugh plays with a lot of confidence. Rodney Scott draws the foul. Chris Montgomery checks into the ball game for Rodney Scott. You know, one thing that the Maroons have that they didn't have about a month or 2 ago were some guards that are capable of playing some good basketball. Coach Chesbrough was kind of concerned about that, the way his guards were playing early in the season.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. You know, one thing we pointed out the last time I worked with you in that East Aurora game was the youth of the Maroons. You know, you've got a kid, Tim Moritz, who's a sophomore guard, Danny Bautista Jr., Chris Montgomery Jr., and then you look for that senior leadership from Steve Bursar and Rodney Scott. I think both of those kids have emerged as leaders, and the other 3 kids have really done their job. I think the fact that they can shuffle them in and out effectively has helped an awful lot.
Moritz has his spot, 35-31, and it's a 4-point Larkin lead. Soskich, rebound Moritz. 1:42 to play, first half. Chris Montgomery. Bursar to Moritz. In the lane, picked off by Gutierrez. Sharp to Verbic on a trail play, and Verbic trailing the play puts in the layup. (37-31), and it's a 6-point Larkin advantage. Baugh. Looked like a forced shot there, Dave.
Yeah, I think he kind of took it upon himself a little bit too much there, possibly.
And the offensive foul going to be called. James Verbic picks up his 2nd foul, and James Hamby back into the Elgin lineup. Inside of a minute to go, first half. Moritz loops it in to Hamby, and a nice pass. Very nice pass into the post man Hamby.
Well, I tell you, good move by Coach Chesbrough there. He got James Hamby back in the lineup when the Maroons regained possession, and it paid off with a big bucket.
12 points for James Hamby, that is. And the foul.
And then he comes back and picks up his 3rd foul.
Seems to be the way it always works. You know, you praise a guy for a good play or a good shot, and then he comes back and maybe gets a foul or commits a turnover.
You know, that's a situation where James just has to get himself down and convince himself he's not going to give up the baseline. You've got to make that kid hit the jumper over you when you're that big. You can't let him take the ball to the basket on you.
Well, Verbic sinks points number 10 and 11, makes both free throws. One thing Larkin is doing is they are capitalizing at the free throw line tonight, only 2 missed shots.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't think they're the kind of team you want to get in a free throw shooting contest with, because they've got 5 kids out there that can shoot the basketball.
Inside of 30 seconds to play, Hamby over 2 people. 14 points for James. He's already surpassed his average of 12. Call, didn't get the roll. Rebound, Moritz. 6 seconds to play. Better get a shot off. And that's it. There's the horn signifying halftime. Our score here at the half. Larkin Royals 39, the Elgin Maroons 35. And we'll be back with second half action from the Elgin High School Fieldhouse following this break. Action as Steve Reiner along with Dave Cookland. 39-35, the Larkin Royals leading the Elgin Maroons. That's a halftime score, and we are underway with second half action. Well, maybe winning the tip to begin the second half's a good omen, Dave. Moritz to Chris Montgomery. Moritz and Montgomery are the guards in there. Baugh and Bursar the forwards, and Hamby at center. That's the lineup that Coach Chesborough started with tonight. Well, you were in the locker room at halftime. What was the sermon about?
Well, I think they said the same things that we were emphasizing here. They got to do a much better job of blocking out on the boards and not letting them get the ball inside like that as they did right there. I think the key is I think the Maroons are going to try and put a little more defensive pressure on in the half-court game, and rather than standing in a zone defense.
Well, a travel turns the ball over to Larkin. Larkin 11 of 13 from the foul line in the first half. I would imagine that the subject of fouls came up, didn't it, at halftime?
Yeah, it did. It was a situation we were talking about letting Larkin get inside and get the rebounds, and it put us into a foul type of situation.
Tony Soskich's 11th point, a lay-in, puts Larkin on top by 8 points. Mark Baugh, baseline. And the foul. Whistle is blown and a foul underneath. Steve Jeffress of Larkin. That's Jeffress's second foul. 6:43 to play, third quarter. Mark Baugh at the line. Baugh with 7 first half points. James Hamby led all scorers with 14 in the first half. It's 43-36. Larkin on top. Gutierrez.
Very nice move by the left-hander from Larkin. Made the nice head fake inside, came back with a little baby hook to the baseline.
45-36. Verbic and Soskich work on Moritz and James Hamby.
See a little different look here by the Maroons, a little half-court pressure they're showing Larkin to try and throw a little more confusion and slow him down.
Pass down court for Jeffress is picked off by Baugh to Bursar. Maroons get the ball back. Bursar to Baugh. And Baugh with his 10th point. 45-40. Cork. Ball partially deflected. Montgomery. Nice pass to Moritz. Weak side.
Nice pass. Here we see what the Maroons achieving what they're looking for, getting Larkin to hurry things a little bit and make some mistakes and turning it over at the other end themselves. (45-42). 5:17 to play, third quarter.
Larkin Royals leading the Elgin Maroons. Cork to Verbic.
Very tough shot by Verbic.
13 points for James Verbic. 47-42. James Hamby from Chris Montgomery. Soskich, oh boy, that's almost automatic.
I tell you, I'd hate to see anybody get in a horse shooting contest with that young man.
49-42. Mercer, nice pass to the weak side to Hamby.
You know, another thing the Maroon staff emphasized was Larkin did not do a whole lot of basket by Soskich there on that weak side pass. Fine diagonal pass by Cork. Larkin did not do a whole lot of substituting in the first half, and I think the Maroons are looking for them maybe to possibly tire by the time the fourth quarter comes around.
Montgomery, this is a shot. Gutierrez. Baugh goes out and Kevin Lindell comes in. That is, you made a good point about substitution. That's something that Coach Chesborough has done very well this game. He's kept the players fresh.
Right. I think he realizes if we're going to have an up-tempo game, we're going to have a pressure-type situation, you want to keep people fresh for that third and fourth quarter.
Well, it looks like a jump ball. Lindell and Verbic.
You see official Harry Bone warning Verbic there a little bit. I don't think he cared for the way he tossed the ball down to the floor there.
Elgin gets the tip. And the charge call.
Well, I tell you, that's just super hustle by number 33, Cork. He did what you want to teach a kid to do. Beat the man down to the paint, then establish yourself. And if the kid pulls up and shoots a jumper, fine. But you're there to stop him from taking it to the basket.
Moritz's second foul. Verbic. Nice block by Lindell. Montgomery outlets down the floor to Barcer.
I'll tell you, the key to that whole turn of events was Kevin Lindell. Rather than going after the ball, he positioned himself and forced James Verbic to pull up and shoot the jumper, and it started the fast break.
Soskich, oh boy, he even had a hand in his face.
I tell you, if you're going to half-court press these guys, you're going to have to keep somebody awfully close to Soskich in the corner. He's the great equalizer out there.
Hamby, bouncing, no good. Gutierrez with the rebound. Inside of 3 minutes to play. Oh boy. That time it was Gutierrez. Montgomery misses his shot. Soskich with the rebound. Not that time. Lindell. Moritz gets it into the front court. Goes to the lane and draws the foul.
Very nice job once again by Tim Morris of slicing down the lane. And at the end of his move, he did go up strong with the basketball. He didn't pull up and throw up a weak shot, and it paid off with a foul.
Second foul for Cork. Moritz with 2 shots.
Well, I tell you,
Go ahead.
You see the difference in the game right there is at the free throw line. Elgin continually having difficulty in this ball game, and Larkin stepping up and taking advantage of it.
Difficulty with the very few opportunities that they had to make free throws.
Right.
9 points for Moritz. This is Gutierrez. 10 points.
Once again, you see that diagonal pass to the weak side. Very simply, what the problem is with the Maroons is they're not getting the wingman on the weak side to drop down. He's hanging up high trying to contest the pass back to the other guard, which isn't going to hurt him. He's got to drop back down into that corner area.
Well, look at the point totals. 18 for James Hamby so far to lead all scorers for Elgin. It's a 57-47 ball game with 2:04 to play here in the third quarter. 12 points for Mark Baugh. We should also point out, too, that James has 3 fouls.
Yes, he does. That, you know, the Maroons need to keep him in the ball game. Obviously, he's been a very important factor both at the offensive and defensive end for the Maroons.
Soskich with 15 for Larkin, 13 for Gutierrez, 10 for Steve Jeffress, and 13 for Jim Verbic. Balanced scoring there. Both teams with one game. Both teams finish up next Friday. The Larkin Royals will host the West Aurora Blackhawks, and the Maroons go down to East Aurora to play the Blackhawks. As March Madness approaches, Chris a little upset with himself there. .158 to play, third quarter. Cork, number 33, in the corner to Soskich. Right corner of your screen. Now back outside to Cork. And Jeffress. Well, if it's not Soskich, it's Jeffress.
Well, I tell you, when both those guys turn it on at the same time, and with the inside game of Verbic and Gutierrez, they're an awful tough team to stop in that situation.
The lead is 12 points. Larkin, and the foul called on Soskich.
Tell you, one thing the Maroons have to make sure they do is keep staying within themselves. Go with the things that have given them success thus far, because when you've got an Elgin Larkin ball game with 2 up-tempo teams, the game can turn around very quickly.
Now Timmy Moritz misses that free throw. Ten points for Timmy Moritz, a sophomore. It's 59-48. Soskich. Montgomery the rebound. It's the ball from James Hamby. In the corner to Bursar. Kevin Lindahl. No, Hamby a foul up. Montgomery gets the ball. Moritz. Bingo. That time they did a fine job on the offensive boards.
A little bit more action. The Maroons were aggressive and got after it, and it paid off.
It's a 9-point ball game. 40 seconds and ticking left to play in the third quarter. Larkin on top, 59-50. Chris Montgomery comes out now to guard Cork. Soskich over to Cork. Larkin going to be content to wind the clock down and work for that last shot. But underneath is Cork, and a block by James Hamby.
Well, I tell you, it could have been a foul on that, but Cork kind of slid about 2 feet down that lane before he took the shot. He made 2 or 3 head fakes, and I think the official was watching his head also.
The line is Cork. Four seconds to play, first half. Misses both shots, 3 seconds. Montgomery's going to have to get it off. And it hits the top of the glass. And after 3, it's the Larkin Royals 59 and the Elgin Maroons 50. Well, with that score in mind and 4 fouls now on James Hamby, what do you see Elgin doing here in the final 8 minutes?
Well, I look for them possibly maybe to go to a little bit full court pressure with a trap situation rather than denial as they did in the first half. Their half-court pressure wasn't really effective because, as I said, they weren't getting a good weak side drop, and Larkin was able to throw that long diagonal pass down to the baseline and get the easy shot. Once again, I think we'll look for a little more man type of pressure in the matchup zone, trying to force Larkin into some turnovers, and because obviously we can't just let Larkin stand and shoot the jump shots because they're just too good a shooting ball club. At the other end of the court, I think you can look for the Maroons to push the ball up the court, and, but they're going to have to get the ball inside. That's the thing that has been successful for them. I think they have to go back to it.
But the shots from the wings, both from Soskich and Gutierrez, not only do they have to worry now continue to worry about Soskich, but Gutierrez is capable of picking up the slack from the outside.
Yeah, I tell you, when they started emphasizing Soskich's side of the court, just like you said, Larkin reversed the ball back to Gutierrez, and well, he had the confidence to stick it right in the basket.
Well, we're getting set for the final 8 minutes here. Baugh, off to Scott, back to Baugh with a one-hander.
Here we see that trapping full court pressure that I was talking about. There's the steal.
Scott. Larkin gets it back. Gutierrez.
You know, that's smart basketball by Steve Gutierrez there. He's aware James Hamby has 4 fouls, and even though he's a big man, he's going to take the ball right to him.
Dan Batista into the Elgin lineup. Mark Baugh. No. James Hamby underneath. Nice rejection. Looked like James stuck his hand up inside to knock that shot away.
Yeah, he played the kind of defense he has to. He just stood straight up and put his arms up.
Scott into Hamby on the baseline. Good. Well, Mr. Hamby has 20 points. And again, the backcourt pressure. Gutierrez. Oh boy. Number 5. Well, somebody had to come over to help there.
Yeah, once again, James let him get the ball inside, and Gutierrez did a good job of taking it to the baseline. I tell you, the last time we played the Larkin Royals, you see the difference that Dave Gutierrez has made. Last game, he went up tentatively. I think he was a little bit intimidated by James Hamby. This game, from the start, he's taken the ball to James Hamby. He missed his first couple shots and got a couple shots blocked, and he could have easily been dejected by that, but he kept going at it, and it's paid off for Larkin.
So Dave Gutierrez misses the free throw. He has 15 points. When a shorter player is playing inside against a taller player, I'm talking about the Hamby-Gutierrez matchup, it's a situation of the smaller man can outthink and outposition the bigger man, right?
Very often so, that's true, definitely. And I think you've seen an example of that with Dave Gutierrez tonight. He's just played a heck of a ball game.
Trap situation. Gutierrez. $17 points. 4 here in the fourth quarter, the early going.
You know, one place this could pay off for the Maroons, though, I think, is the fact that Kevin Lendl's going to get some extended playing time here. Thus far, really, he has not played too badly. He's done a real good job defensively. He's rebounded. And, you know, Kevin's got the tools to be a heck of a ball player, and maybe this will be a confidence builder for him.
You see Kevin playing regularly next year then, every game?
Oh, I think so. If he works hard over the summer, he's got a nice soft touch and he jumps real well. And
travel on Rodney Scott.
I think with some hard work, he can pay big dividends for the Maroons.
Baugh comes up with it around midcourt. Batista, the Moritz, all along baseline. Verbic with the rebound, deflected by Baugh. Maroons come up with it. This is Dan Batista. Maroons set it up. Batista.
Big bucket by Dan Batista.
4 points for Danny. And a timeout, Larkin.
I think that's a good move by Coach Dom Canada. He saw some things he didn't like. He said, hey, fellas, we had a 9-point lead there. We got the ball, and you try and push it up the court twice and lose it. We got to talk about things and get some things straightened out here as far as what we want to do.
You know, it's really been the sophomore connection this year with both the Elgin and Larkin squads. Tim Moritz was brought up from the sophomore team along with, I believe Dan Batista's a sophomore also?
Mark Baugh.
Oh, Mark Baugh. Okay, Mark Baugh is a sophomore. But I guess it's a credit to the confidence that the coaches have in the sophomore program.
Yeah, I tell you, these kids, you know, Soskich was brought up to the varsity even at the end of the year last year as a freshman, so he was in their plans right from the start. And I think it was a good move by Coach Chesborough to let Tim Moritz and Mark Baugh gain their confidence and get into the flow of the system and pick things up and come up when they did. And I tell you what, it's made a heck of a difference for both programs. And then last year with Larkin's ball club, you see James Verbic and Dave Gutierrez. I tell you, by the time they're out of here, conference coaches are going to think they've been around for about 10 years.
Yeah, you made a point earlier about how college scouts seem to think that there aren't the outside shooters being brought up through the high school programs. All they have to see is a guy like Tony Soskich and Tim Moritz.
I tell you, they're two. You know, let alone the fact that they're sophomores, but even being sophomores, they're two of the better varsity shooters I've seen when they are able to set and shoot.
4:41 to go. Steve Jeffress, the senior, with his 16th point. And it's a 9-point ball game. Larkin on top. Looked like that pass was intended for Lindell. And Rodney Scott is whistled for the foul from behind.
Yeah, I think that was one of those frustration fouls a little bit there. Rodney forced a bad pass, and I think he's a little upset with himself, and he wanted to make up for it right away. And as you see so many times, even in the college and pro levels, you get that frustration foul.
Now Andre Gore comes into the lineup. He's a junior, and he also has a nice shot, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's got a real good touch. Andre's definitely an up-tempo player. When he's in there, the game's going to move. Things are going to happen.
16 points for Mr. Soskich. (69-58). 11-point ball game. Nice shot by Mark Baugh. Cuts the lead to 9. Jeffress didn't get the bounce. Rolls off the iron. Baugh on the rebound to Gore. So Gore makes it a 7-point game. Gutierrez to Verbic, down low, and he walked. Verbic looked like he was at a bad angle for the reverse lay-in anyways.
Yeah, I think he picked up the ball a step earlier than he really wanted to and got caught underneath the basket.
Well, what do you know? Gore from Gore, 4 points for Andre. 69-64, and all of a sudden it's a 5-point game. Timeout. Another good situation for a timeout.
Yeah, I tell you, here's, you know, the Larkin Royals are in kind of an enigmatic situation here. You know, do you want to keep going to the basket? I'm sure they do, because that's been successful for them, but then at the same time, you want to stress the fact that you don't want to take bad shots. But in the Larkin Royals scheme of things, with the type of shooters they have, when you don't make the shots that they take, people say those are bad shots. But they've been going down for them all night, so what do you do?
Right, right. You're exactly right, but then when those shots fall, then those players are just the best thing that's ever happened, and the strategy was great.
Exactly. You know, I think you've got to stay with what's been successful for you. You can't start holding on to the ball here because there's just too much time left in the ball game.
Do you think that with the sophomores out there on the floor, do you think that that Soskich or say Mark Baugh or players like that, the underclassmen, have trouble distinguishing between an opportunity and a bad opportunity?
Well, I think at this point, these three kids, Moritz, Soskich, and Baugh, I think are all very unusually mature for sophomores. You know, I think they're the kind of kids that are up to the challenge, and I don't think they're going to back down from anything.
Well, here we go. The final 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And it's on Timmy Moritz. Tony Soskich. It's the front end of the 1-and-1.
Well, I tell you, as they say, he can make that net dance.
Well, we've marveled at his outside shooting tonight. He's equally fantastic from the free throw line, 7-7.
Oh.
And Timmy Moritz, holy cow!
We're talking three-point range out there.
From the twilight zone. 16 for Timmy Moritz. Tony Soskich is fouled by Andre Gore. 71-66.
Well, I tell you, regardless of the outcome, I think we might get some of these fans back out here for the regional tournament because both these teams put on a pretty good show tonight.
Well, Soskich keeps Larkin aloft at 72-66 by sinking the free throw. 73-66. 7-point lead. There's Andre Gore. Oh! Did not get the roll. Soskich to Cork. He traveled, and a break for the Maroons. You know, between Soskich and Moritz tonight, they have combined for 35 points, the two sophomores. And Baugh, I forgot about Baugh, he has 16 points. Lindahl.
One thing you don't want to do is foul number 25.
Jeffress.
Tell you, I guess from what we've seen, Coach Canada's answered our question that we had at the timeout. They're going to live or die by that jump shot. So far, they're definitely living by it.
They don't seem hesitant at all to take the jump shot. Verbic. I guess the bottom line is you go with what you do best, huh?
Yeah, you got to go with what got you there, as they say.
Gore took the fake and came down on his back. That's his first. With 3 points. 78-68. Lindo with a rebound. Takor quickly up the floor. And Cork picks up the foul. .68. Well, there's no margin for error now at the line. .78-70. Gore works, and what a heads-up play. Gore to Batista, Mercer. Mercer with the basket. Boy, Gore is playing some intense basketball out there. He's not going to give up. 78-72. The foul is on Baugh. Lindo with the rebound. Mercer. Lindo, follow up, good. Big offensive board there, Dave.
I tell you, that's one thing Kevin Lindo does, is he really slides in there between the defensive players for those offensive boards.
It's 80-74 with 46 seconds to play. I think these 46 seconds are going to prove interesting. Pressure defense by Elgin. Lindo passes the ball away, but
they can get a 10
back up. This is Verbic, and Verbic with a basket. 19 points for James Verbic. Cork on the break. Tried to stuff it. And Verbic with the follow-up. 84-74. 11 seconds. Baugh. 2 seconds. And Larkin has defeated the Elgin Maroons here tonight, 84-76. Well, it got quite interesting in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely back and forth up and down the floor, and it ended up being the high-scoring game that we thought it would be.
20 points unofficially tonight for James Hamby, and as we mentioned, all the sophomores tonight played very, very well. Mark Baugh and Timmy Moritz for Elgin, and of course Tony Soskich for the Larkin Royals.
Yeah, they certainly did. They showed that they're capable of playing at this level, as they have all year, and they're going to cause some headaches for opposing coaches in the near future. I think one bright spot, if you can see one for the Maroons and Coach Chesborough, is the fact that they were forced to play a large portion of the game without James Hamby tonight, and Tim Moritz and Mark Baugh and some of the other players came to the front and took the bull by the horn, so to speak. And another thing that we mentioned earlier was that Kevin Lindell showed some bright spots, and that could be very important down the tournament trail. On the other hand, Larkin, they played a heck of a ball game. They did the things they needed to. They got the ball to the two people who were really hot at the right time, Jefferson, Soskich, but you can't take away from the fine inside play of both Verbic and Gutierrez. They set up that outside play early in the game. They got the ball inside to those two young men, and it opened up the outside for Soskich and Jefferson.
And you know, you made the excellent point about James Hamby too. Losing him, they could have sure used some of his offensive boards there, or some of his rebounding down the stretch, in that final 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely that, and you know, he helps the Maroon defense so much with the fact that they can take some chances and be very aggressive outside, because of the fact that you've got a kid 6'11" standing inside to help you out if you do get beat. And then they've got him to go to when they need the bucket at crunch time, because more and more every week he's become, I think, more confident in himself, and not only more confident but more effective. He's become a much better offensive ball player.
Well, the Larkin Royals now in conference move to 4-10, while the Elgin Maroons drop to 6-7 in the conference. And next week you guys finish up down at East Aurora.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. That's where we see what we're made of. You know, Aurora is always a tough place to play, especially with the ball club they've got this year. And, you know, the kids have something to prove. They had a tough game against East Aurora. They got blown out here, and I think they're going to go down there and look to redeem themselves a little bit. Plus, as we mentioned at the start of the game, build towards tournament time.
Okay, real quickly, we should talk about your sophomore team. Now, you are 12-1 in the Upstate Conference and 21-2 overall. And tonight here in the first game, you clinched a tie for the Upstate Conference title, and could wrap it up, possibly win it next weekend with a victory over East, right?
That's correct. If we would beat East Aurora next weekend, which we hope to do, we would clinch the title, and also any loss by the DeKalb Barbs, who only have 2 losses, would clinch the title. You know, these kids have had a heck of a year for me, with Baugh and Moritz both going up to the varsity, and then another good ball player for us, Mike Hagan, a 6'4" forward, broke his ankle about 3 weeks ago. And no matter what's happened, these kids have been up to the challenge. They really work hard. They play excellent defense, and they're a patient ball team. We're not the greatest shooters in the world, but we stay within ourselves and do what we're capable of, and it's paid off.
Is this one of the best sophomore classes that Elgin High School has had for a while?
Oh, yes, I think so. I think we had a real fine sophomore class with the group that went down to state with John Covington, Dave Witt, and Drew Mays, and Preston Hinton, Irvin Holly, and so on. But this group of kids, I don't know if there's as much pure talent in this group as there was in that group, but I tell you, these are some kids that are going, when there's a ball on the floor, they're going to be down after it. You're going to hear some skin squeaking on the floor, and they're going to challenge people. They're going to bump and grind inside, and they're going to work at the defensive end. They don't mind doing the dirty work. They aren't real worried about being real pretty as long as they come up with a W.
Well, Dave, I'd like to thank you for helping out tonight in Ken Bates' absence, and also like to thank Bill Chesborough and his coaching staff, who assisted us with stats and information for this broadcast tonight, as the Larkin Royals defeat their crosstown rivals, the Elgin Maroons, here tonight from the Elgin High School Fieldhouse. So for Dave Cookland, and a fine job by our cameraman, Mr. Raphael Qualls. Good job, Ralph. This is Steve Reinert saying so long from the Elgin High School Fieldhouse.